You're watching the MAC on ESPN. For the first time this year, the chill of fall is in the air in western New York. The arrival of autumn weather means we're closer to championship season, and folks around Buffalo are believing. The Bulls start the day as one of 3 unbeatens in the MAC. They look to keep it rolling today against the Akron Zips. And a pleasant good afternoon. Sean Kinney alongside Ryan Kavanaugh. So great to have you with us. The weather is changing. My partner is in the Halloween spirit, looking good in orange. That must mean midweek action is around the corner. But Ryan, as we both know, there is a lot of football to be settled over the next month.
Absolutely. Holiday season means the heart of the MAC conference. Teams are jockeying for position. Specifically this afternoon, Buffalo looks to remain undefeated and at the top of the standings. And Akron needs a win to keep their hopes alive to make the conference championship.
Joe Moorhead's Akron Zips have been a hard out when they are fully healthy. They stung Central Michigan as a 2-touchdown underdog, and they've come up just short in their last 2 games with Miami and Ball State.
Well, they've been at their best when this guy, Ben Finley, plays well. I think he has the strongest arm in the MAC. 750 yards passing in the last 3 games, and you see at the bottom there, he has big-time success against Buffalo, and you need a running back to help you out. Jordan Gant is hitting his stride mid-season here, last 3 games averaging over 100 yards on the ground.
They are the cardiac kids in Buffalo. Pete Limbo and the Bulls have had the flair for the dramatics. Back-to-back last-second wins has them in first place. The common denominator in the clutch, Victor Snow.
3 last-minute touchdowns in all 3 of those wins for Victor Snow. The last 2 games, he has 5 total touchdowns. He's very dangerous with the ball in his hands. And Red Murdoch, one of the best linebackers in the country, second in the MAC. And speaking of having the ball in your hands, if you do, Red Murdoch might knock it out. He's second in NCAA history in forced fumbles.
Year 2 for Pete Limbo at Buffalo, 13-7. Remember, he was a late bring-in last year and guided them to a bowl game and now has the Bulls in first place. Joe Moorhead, one of the best offensive minds in the country. Year 4 for Akron. Little pooch kick as Akron won the toss and deferred, so Buffalo to get the football first. Bowl offense engineered by Taquan Roberson. Roberson started his career at Penn State. Spent a couple of years at UConn, last season at Kansas State, but has really blended with offensive coordinator Dave Patnode, coming off a career-high game and the come-from-behind win against UMass. From the 26-yard line, Buffalo to begin shop today. And Roberson to the air, has time, now settles underneath, short hops. Like they were able to get the hands underneath before it hit the turf. That was Gaithings with the catch.
Nice job by Roberson hanging in the pocket. Had 3 receivers at the bottom of the screen. Nobody came open and found his safety valve underneath.
Buffalo offense that really has found its way in the air over the last few weeks. A 1,000-yard rusher from a year ago in Aljay Henderson, but it's been the ability to throw the football as they try to get Henderson going, but no luck. Pursued by Ronald Hull. Amari Branch also in there for Akron, setting up a 3rd and long.
Nice job by Akron, staying with the motion and fouling Aljay Henderson. As you mentioned, Branch, they're going to need Branch and some of the other defensive backs to step up because they have a lot of injuries on the back half of their defense coming into this game.
5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Rich Edwards, our referee, and now 3rd and double digits for Buffalo. You were talking about those injuries defensively. No Alex Branch, no Justin Anderson, no Shimon Cooper. So they take a couple of serious hits in the secondary, and then one of their top linebackers, top tacklers, Shimon Cooper, not in uniform today. Three-man rush. They drop 8 into coverage, floating along the far side, and a 1st down strike. Up ahead to the 40-yard line goes Victor Snow.
Victor Snow found himself wide open just beyond the sticks. Roberson does a good job of getting it to him. And if you're Akron, you have to know where number 0 is all the time, especially in big moments, because that's exactly who Roberson is going to go to when he needs a big play.
13 yards, and now they go on the jet sweep motion. This has been a big part of the Buffalo offense this year. Spriggs, the linebacker, in there for the injured Shimon Cooper. And Buffalo goes tempo for the first time.
Trying to get the ball in Snow's hand any way possible. Very dangerous threat running as well.
Second down, Roberson setting up that screen. They get the ball outside to Henderson, but he runs into his own blocker. And another third down for the Bulls. Alj Henderson, very dangerous as a wide receiver. As a defense, you have to take him into account at all times.
He's excellent catching the football out of the backfield. What I like Buffalo does offensively is they move their personnel around, so they're very unpredictable in that sense.
Third down and long. Roberson over the middle, going up, and it's jarred free, incomplete. Broken up by Johnson as he timed it beautifully. And after surrendering the early first down, the Zip defense shuts the door.
Pretty good pass by Roberson, which it would have been a first down. Again, look at him just hanging in the pocket as he gets hit at the very end, but Snow unable to bring it in because of that hit by DeMarco Johnson.
Johnson, the fifth-year senior, the team's second leading tackler, and one of the few healthy bodies they have on the field in the back end, making the play. Dylan Drennan, who's been one of the top punters in the MAC, this one angled toward the far side. Not one of his better kicks. And that will set up Ben Finley, the fifth-year senior who has made his round. Started his career at Raleigh at North Carolina State, made a cross-country trek to California for a season, now year 2, and you feel he is one of the top quarterbacks, especially with his arm in this conference.
He's got an NFL caliber arm, and when you're a defense playing against Finley, your backside, you have to always be aware of the football coming your way because there's not a pass on the field that he can't make with his arm strength.
Finley is going to come out throwing. It's Marcel Williams with the catch up ahead to the 34.
And right on cue, look how quickly he gets the ball out too. When Ben Finley is able to process, read, and get the football out quickly, that's when he's at his best. He's got some weapons too on the outside. This is a deep receiver room for Akron, so he wants to get them the football in space.
They hand the ball off. Miles Walker around the outside. Picked up a nice block from his tight end. That was able to allow him to get to the corner, and a good start for the Zips. Couple of plays and a first down.
It's a big-time hit by Jalen McNair on the outside. But they were able to seal the edge and allow Walker to get upfield. But McNair sending an early message. Watch out.
Finley over the middle, off the fingertips of Walker, incomplete.
That was McNair bearing down on him. It's interesting. This is a position where oftentimes a wide receiver will take his eyes off the football because he sees the opposing jersey coming right at him.
Mentioned the receiving core for Akron, very deep. Walker, a fifth-year senior, really getting an opportunity to shine. The first time in his career wearing the prestigious #1 jersey as a flag is thrown, moving the pile up near midfield, but a flag thrown in the vicinity of a hold. Jordan Gant with his first touch of the day, and what a find he has been from Tennessee State.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 97, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Junior Poyser got a hand up. This will cost Buffalo 15.
You're going to see him on the right. Right there to the right of Jordan Gant, reaches out. And frankly, I'm surprised these calls and these infractions don't happen more often. You're in the middle of all these bodies and you're just reaching out trying to get a hold of anything on the ball carrier. That time it was the wrong part of the equipment.
They pitch it to the right side. Gant unable to run away from one of the top tacklers in the country in Red Murdoch. 79 tackles coming into this one.
Take a look at the way Red Murdoch tracks Jordan Gant. He sees it, takes the proper angle and the strength, able to wrestle Gant to the ground. Red Murdoch is a menace on defense.
Preseason All-American, one of the top tacklers a season ago. Pick up the blitz over the middle, settling in underneath and falling ahead for a first down. Marcel Williams, second catch on this opening drive for the redshirt freshman.
Nice job by Finley to find Williams over the middle. And as you pointed out, Sean, excellent pickup from the blitz by Jordan Gant, coming in and giving Finley the time he needed. This is when Akron, when they're able to mix the run and the pass. There's times this year where Akron looks like the best offense in the MAC, but they've sputtered inside the red zone at times.
Really hurt them a few weeks ago at Miami. 1 of 3 in red zone trips. Now Finley over the middle, tried to sneak it through to the tight end. Jake Newell, who is back in uniform this week, missed last week, and really he's been on and off this year with an injury, and he's such a pivotal part when they want to go 11 personnel.
Which is the preferred formation for Coach Joe Moorhead. Newell is really the main factor. Now Connor Kravac has done a good job during the games when Newell was out, but Jake Newell is a difference maker for the Zips offense.
On second down, little hitch near side, and it's dropped. Israel Polk, who had been on a roll the last couple of weeks, he's really emerged as one of Finley's favorite targets. A rare drop for the Pitt transfer.
Coach Moorhead this week told us he thought that Israel Polk has been the best and most consistent receiver on the outside for his offense. That time, just unable to bring in a ball that he catches 99% of the time.
Third downs have not been kind to Akron this year. 3rd and 10 from the 28. Here they come up the middle. Finley running, and he's forced just to throw it away. He was outside the pocket there.
There is no foul for intentional grounding. The quarterback was out of the tackle box.
Sean, that looked like they were setting up a screen for how quickly Buffalo's defenders were in, as if they were just going to let them come in. And I was looking in the flat for where's the running back? Is it a tight end screen? And everybody was running vertical deep routes down the field. So obviously a big miss in the pass protection for Akron.
Kicking game this year has been an adventure for the Zips. They started with Owen Wiley, but they have made the move to the redshirt freshman Matthew Schramm. Schramm perfect on the year, 4 for 4, made both of his attempts last week. This one from 45. Placement down, kick on the way, has enough leg, and it's good. The freshman from Dublin, Ohio, Matthew Schramm, gets Moorhead Zips on the road first. Akron strikes a 3-0 lead early from Buffalo. It is a year where it really is any given Saturday in the MAC and soon to be any given Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday with midweek action. 3 teams starting the day perfect. Buffalo, Miami, and Western Michigan. Miami and the Broncos playing today. But you take a look at the parity after those top 3 teams, and it's a thought we both had early in the year. We really feel the MAC champion might take a couple of hits this year. It's that deep.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think so. I don't know how anybody is going to come through unscathed. And after today, the only question is there 1 or 2 undefeated teams remaining? Because we know the winner of Miami and Western Michigan will still be undefeated. It's whether or not Buffalo can win here and join them.
Again, another short kick. Akron strategy coming in. So Buffalo ready for their second offensive series. Taquan Roberson and crew down 3-0 early on. First real fall day in the Northeast. Temperatures slid into the 30s and 40s during the overnight. Partly cloudy right now in this opening quarter. Temperatures in the 50s as we move into November next week and the stretch run for a championship. And Roberson has been a big reason why they are thinking MAC championship this year in Buffalo.
He's played very well, and he's battled injury. So I think Roberson is still getting back to 100% as far as running the ball. That's a dangerous thought, scary thought.
This is an area that Pete Limbo and offensive coordinator Dave Patno really feel they need to get going. It's an offensive line that has done a good job pass protecting, but they have really yet to get Aljay Henderson breaking those explosive plays like he did so often last year.
Some of that has had to do with injuries across the Bulls' offensive front, but it has been a contrast between pass blocking and run blocking. Right there, that's an excellent move on the inside. LaVenture with a swim move, immediate penetration into the backfield.
You have 2 transfers at the 2 end spots, LaVenture and Durham, and both have had productive years in their first year in the system with Tim Tibesar, the defensive coordinator, especially LaVenture, who's coming off a 9-tackle game last week.
As an interior defensive lineman.
They love to move him all around. 3rd down, 3rd and 8 for Roberson. Four-man rush. Roberson has it batted up at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. And the Akron defense firing to the football.
I think it was Gage Summers that got his hand in the passing lane, and that's what they teach. If you're rushing the passer and you realize you're not going to get home, you've got to get big, get in the passing lanes, and try to impact and affect it. And I'm sorry, it was Cam Cheatham, the defensive end, who oftentimes comes in on passing situations because he's so adept at getting to the quarterback.
Drennan on the punt for the 2nd time. Good kick. Mason Fields from his own 27, and he is met immediately. Host of special team coverage downfield for Buffalo, a 45-yard punt. Akron with the early momentum. Finley and the Zip offense ready to go to work, leading on the road 3-0. One of the great offensive minds really across college football for the Akron Zips, Joe Moorhead, the two-time National Offensive Coordinator Coach of the Year. And just not his stops as an assistant. He was a head coach at Fordham for 4 years, went 38-13 for the Rams during those 4 seasons. Spent a couple of years at Mississippi State as the head coach, and I still feel he did not get enough credit for the job he did with that program in that short time.
I would agree with you. Joe's done a great job at so many different stops, turning programs around and setting the course of the program in the right direction. He's got to be happy, pleased with how this game has started early for his offense.
False start. Offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Penalties have been a problem for Akron throughout the course of the year. He was talking about the start they had this year. They were shut out in back-to-back weeks, Wyoming and Nebraska. This offense got cooking against UAB, and he just said it took some extra time to get so many new faces familiar with what we want to do as a program. Sean Patrick, first down, gets some of the penalty yards back. And he said once they started to get some repetition, especially at the running back position, this offensive line continuing to mold where they really have built a 2-deep system, things started to click a little bit.
Yeah, there were a couple of main things. You mentioned it, the running backs. They haven't, last week may have been the first time that Sean Patrick and Jordan Gant were both healthy at the same time. And Jake Newell's injury also has a big impact on what Coach was trying to do schematically offensively.
Finley tried to sneak it in. Kyan Mason. Defensive play broken up by Jalen McNair.
McNair's off to a hot start. McNair moves around a lot for this defense. You'll see him in the box. You'll see him 15 yards off the ball. We've already seen him make plays at the sideline, and here he is in the middle of the field, knocking the ball away from Kyan Mason.
Bradley and Cooper, the two corners. Mason, as we talked about, the slot near side. Pressure comes and just forced to throw it away. You heard the footsteps. Miles Greer coming in. Second time they've been able to really put some pressure on Finley, and Akron with a 3-and-out.
After Finley threw the football, there at that moment, if you took a snapshot, there were 4 gray jerseys 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So not a whole lot of options when you're Ben Finley. You're on your bicycle going backwards and trying to find a receiver.
That has been the tendency with Joe Bowen defenses the last couple of years. Buffalo puts a lot of pressure on the quarterback. 21 sacks this year, 3rd best in the MAC. Bearcats signal by Snow, and Buffalo offense that has sputtered out of the gates to begin this one. 41-yard punt. We'll see if Roberson can get them going. 3-0 Akron. Fall afternoon from Buffalo. Second stint in the MAC for Pete Limbo. He led Ball State to back-to-back bowl games in 2012, 2013. Spent some time as an assistant at Maryland after his time in Muncie. And year 2 in Buffalo, a strong campaign a year ago, and he has the Bulls playing good football as they try to get the ground game going with Terrence Shelton. Limbo, who has always specialized in special teams. His assistants with Dave Patnode and defensive coordinator Joe Bowen. Snow makes the catch, but that was a lateral pass. They'll go back a couple of yards. He's one of the good guys in college football.
I don't know if it's possible to say that that's an understatement, but he truly is a wonderful, wonderful man, always positive. In fact, we were laughing that during the week he told us that he got upset at practice, and we couldn't even imagine what that would look or sound like.
But he was in a good mood by the time he had reached us on the conference call 30 minutes after practice wrapped up. Trying to create some urgency earlier in the week. Here comes Akron. Roberson unleashes, but it's incomplete. Good coverage on the play by Malcolm DeWalt. And how about this start by a shorthanded defensive unit from Akron?
They've come out inspired, and it has not allowed Buffalo to get on track or find any continuity offensively. We were looking at this matchup with two very talented quarterbacks who threw for a couple miles of yards last week, expecting a higher scoring game, but so far the defenses have taken center stage.
Short punt by Drennan, keeping the ball away from Patrick, and this one will tailspin out of bounds along the Akron sideline. 39 yards on the punt for Drennan. Buffalo, 3 offensive series, 1 first down, a net of 19 yards.
Credit the defense of Akron. But I would guess about 75 or 80% of the offense Akron's had was on that initial drive. Defense for Buffalo has been stingy as well.
Finley 2 of 8 to start this game, 16 yards. Walker in motion on first down. Finley on the RPO, lobs it into double coverage, and Williams makes the catch. A flag is thrown on the opposite side. There's actually 2 flags down, one along the Buffalo sideline as well.
Ineligible downfield. Offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Sean, I believe that was an RPO, which stands for run pass option. And look, you know, Keelan Davis is going to get penalized for this, but in the huddle, it's called a run, and you see fakes it to Gant, and it's slower developing. But it was the right read by Finley, a beautiful pass and catch by Williams. But I feel bad for offensive linemen in this new era RPO offense.
Yeah, it is the toughest thing for an offensive lineman.
There were 2 fouls on the play, both against the offense. Ineligible downfield. Offense, number 56 is declined. Pass interference. Offense, number 88. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
So as I mentioned, there were 2 flags, one along the Buffalo sideline, and that was the battle with the tight end Jake Newell and the Buffalo secondary players. So a couple of choices for the Buffalo defense, and they'll take the interference goal. So wipe out the big gain to Williams.
What's unfortunate for Akron is that was way far away from the catch by Williams.
First down and long. Finley near side. Newell makes the catch, and Savion Brown wrapped him up immediately.
It was a big boy tackle by Savion Brown, taking on the much bigger tight end Jake Newell. But he held on to him, and he was not letting go of Jake Newell.
Brown is an excellent comeback story. Tore his Achilles last year. In fact, this weekend marks the 1-year mark for him recovering from that terrible injury. Pressure comes, down goes Finley. Sacked back inside the 10 by Murdoch.
Murdoch almost goes over the offensive lineman to grab Ben Finley, and I think at the tail end of this, we're going to see Murdoch attempt to do what he does best, which is strip the football. This is if I'm not incorrect here, you see that left hand, the lawnmower technique is what they call it. You dig in with your left hand, grab the football, and you try to pull it like you're starting a lawnmower. Murdoch didn't get it that time, but you get an idea of his mindset. Anytime he's bringing somebody down, he's looking to take the football away.
3rd and a mile. They'll go conservative and just try to give their punter a little bit of room to work. Gant takes it up to the 23. You go back to the sack for Murdoch, his 3rd of the year, and a perfect example why NFL scouts are really excited about him. He's such a downhill, violent type of player, and he took on the offensive lineman, shredded the running back Gant, and then not only the sack, but the strip attempt. Tremendous talent.
3rd in the conference for tackles for loss. Oh boy.
Bad snap, ball bouncing in the end zone, and it's going to be a safety for Buffalo. Special teams again for the Bulls, and that has been Limbo's specialty.
Jonathan Capo with the tackle in the end zone on Joseph Castle. This snap is a little high, but it still goes through the hands of Castle. I saw it leave the snapper's hands, and it was looking to be high, but Castle had an opportunity to catch that. He's lucky he held onto the ball.
Hasn't this been the story of the season for Akron? Your defense is playing so well, and now a special teams botch. And it's another day in the office in the MAC, 3-2 with 3.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. You don't know what to expect, and that's why this conference is so fun to watch.
You hit the nail on the head there. Like week in, and we talked to Coach Moorhead. I said, I'd watch you drive the football up and down the field, and then there just appears to be something in each game that ends up short-circuiting it, or unexpected points for the other team like that. And now the defense is going to be put in a tough spot, at least field position wise, because they have to kick off from the 20-yard line. Marsh Sperling wearing the 41 jersey that's given out each week to a different player that earns it for the Buffalo Bulls.
Coming up on the run is Shelton from the 20, out past the 30, 35, stretching ahead to the 40. Up to the 45-yard line, but there is a flag down at the 35.
During the return, holding, return team number 17, 10 yards from the spot of the foul, first down.
Real sloppy start both ways when it seems like a team might be getting a little momentum, a big play, it gets nullified by a penalty. And Buffalo, before last week, had been a real disciplined team. 11 penalties a week ago, a season high, and that was something that the coaches addressed this week in practice.
Well, they came into the UMass game averaging 4 penalties per game. So they almost 3x'd that against UMass. Neither team has come out playing particularly clean this afternoon.
4th offensive series in this opening quarter, and they will keep it on the ground. This has been a part of the game where they have kept in the holster a little bit more than they thought coming in, just because of Roberson and his health, trying to protect a lower body injury.
Roberson still limping his way back to health, literally and figuratively. Bruno Dahl did a nice job setting the edge, and Gage Summers, we're looking inside his face mask. Great pursuit from the backside when Henderson hesitated as he went through the hole. Summers got on his back.
Second down and 8. Roberson hit as he threw it. That was Dole who hit him. The 6'7" giant. Still no whistle, and finally a whistle comes in from a referee, Rich Edwards.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete forward pass. Third down.
Dole thought maybe he had the strip and the turnover for Akron.
He's been excellent all year. You're going to see him on the right side of your screen here, just driving into the left tackle, Henry Tabanzi. Beautiful job. I'm sorry, that was Trevor Brock he was working on. The front four for Akron has been pretty consistent. They don't rotate a lot of players. Dole will almost play every defensive snap.
Third down, they come near side to Shelton with some work to do, and there is Dole again. Bruno Dole, the redshirt sophomore out of Hamburg, Germany. And you talk to the coaches, this is a young man that worked as he waited because he sat behind some really good players. C.J. Nunley, who transferred this offseason to Purdue. Bennett Adler, he learned from two really good ones.
Absolutely, and he's banked all those mental reps and the learning lessons in practice, and now it's Dole's turn to step up, and he and on the other side, Cyrus Durham have just been tremendous bookends for the Zip defense.
Not a good kick from Drennan. Having a tough quarter off the side of his foot as he shanked it. And how about this starting position for Akron? They're still walking upfield. They're going to take over at the Buffalo 40. My goodness.
This has been a very uncharacteristic game thus far for Dylan Drennan. One of the best punters in the MAC. He has struggled early. Now, I know we're in World Series season here, but I feel like it's 3-2, bottom of the 5th.
Well, if this is the 6th inning, we're about to see an explosion if it's like last night when Toronto went on.
There we go.
Just about 45 miles from the World Series. Finley is going to throw, put some air on it. There's the touch of Ben Finley. Beautiful throw. Lofted it perfectly to Sean Patrick. First down.
They got the matchup they wanted. It's a linebacker on Patrick. It's Red Murdoch. You're going to see, no, defensive end rather. It's not Murdoch. And look at the ball placement by Ben Finley.
Soft touch. They go right back to Patrick over the right side. Sean Patrick, redshirt freshman, team's second leading rusher, but health has been an issue. Missed the Toledo game, but you mentioned, Ryan, it's quite a 1-2 punch with Gant and Patrick both healthy.
Patrick's more of a speedster, make you miss type guy, or Gant downhill. They both have similar characteristics, but a little bit different for Sean Patrick.
Late handoff there on the read by Finley. Patrick surging ahead, setting up a 3rd and short as we approach the 1-minute mark of a sloppy first quarter from Western New York. Late shifting, they put Newell as the H-back to the right. 3rd down, Finley looking left, floats back of the end zone, and nobody there. Looked like a breakdown in communication. Flag down where Finley let her fly. Jalen McNair was the closest player for Buffalo to that throw. Sixth penalty coming up.
Holding. Offense number 51. 10-yard penalty. 3rd down.
6th penalty of this opening quarter between the two teams.
They're going to get in on Masai King, who Coach Moore had said might be the most talented offensive lineman. He's close to being the highest graded out on the season, but that was an impactful penalty. And Ben Finley's got to protect the ball in the red zone. That has been the Achilles heel of him, is trusting his gunslinger arm too much. But you need to prioritize ball security when you get down here.
Third and 13. Akron 0 for 4 today. They've had some 3rd and longs in this first quarter. Here they come again. Finley swallowed up back at the 35. Greer on a safety blitz, the first one to hit him, and he had plenty of help after.
They threw the kitchen sink at Ben Finley in this offensive line, and there just were not enough people to block the number of Bulls that came in. You see Murdoch's coming in clean. Miles Greer gets home. And another defensive back, Kobe Stewart rather, the defensive end, wearing number 0. But there's 3 Bulls on top of Ben Finley.
This is the end of the first quarter. Let's go!
What a first quarter. 3-2. 3-2. Akron with the 1-point lead. Buffalo looking to stay in first in the MAC. It's been a slow start out of the gates, but this defense has been swarming. Zips by 1 through 1. Three to 2. Akron with the lead as we move into the start of the second quarter. The Zips with a field goal, Buffalo a safety, Joe Moorhead a decision in between quarters. Do you kick the 51-yard field goal, or do you play the field position game and punt it? He chooses option B with Braden Johnson.
Braden Johnson, the new punter who is in for Castle. Not sure if that is, and you know, he's experienced. He has 8 punts on this season as well. But you hope Castle's okay after getting tackled in the end zone.
Do you like that call by Moorhead to play the field position game?
Absolutely. Their defense is playing lights out. It was 3rd and 24 or a 51-yard field goal. So of those 3 options, I say punt it and give your defense the respect they earned in the first quarter to say, let's hold them and let's get the ball back.
We're starting position of the day for Buffalo, an offense that has mustered just 21 yards of total offense, trying to add to the total. McMillan with his first catch, and he's tackled immediately by Reed.
It's just a long developing play, a 5-yard out from the far hash. That's where, you know, few quarterbacks are even throwing that. We're going to see 2 here in Roberson and Finley that can hit that pass. But the ball travels so far in the air that it allows the defender to get on the receiver as soon as he catches it.
Let's go, ball!
Second down, they hand it off, and a hole opens up and into the second wave, and a first down gallop up to the 30-yard line for Aljay Henderson. And let's see if that ignites the Buffalo offense.
Longest run on the afternoon for either team. You look at some of these gaudy numbers throughout his career. 5 100-yard games throughout his career, but he doesn't have one yet this year.
Still searching for the first 100-yard day, giving ground in the pursuit by Akron. The Zips have simply been flying to the football. Kamara, one of their reserve corners, holding the edge, and then plenty of pursuit. Spirited effort, a loss of 5, back to the 25-yard line.
This is Messiah Birch who gets the football, the running back who has been out with injury, but here he is being stretched out. That's what you do as a defense. You just keep them running east and west, string them out to the sideline.
Roberson hit as he let it fly. Passes reeled in. Gaithing's the catch. Kai Flowers the coverage. Flowers started his career at Penn State. Actually was a receiver for the Nittany Lions, but on arriving back to Akron, they moved him to the secondary, and he's really starting to find his way toward the second half of the year just with the increased reps.
It took him a while to get his feet wet, but like so many players, as you get to the midpoint of the season, that's where you really feel comfortable in a new program, and for him, a new position.
3rd down and 6. Here they come. Summers picked up on a linebacker blitz. Extra time to throw. Snow makes the catch in front of Reed, and a first down. Victor Snow up to the 46-yard line. Good job by the Buffalo offensive line, picking up the blitz, giving Roberson a clean pocket.
40 seconds on the play clock.
Look at Victor Snow. He just has an uncanny ability to create separation. Look, he was 3-4 yards away from Elijah Reed, right at the sticks, and there's the shiftiness and a craftiness to the route running for Victor Snow that allows him to create that all-important separation.
Best looking drive of the day for Buffalo. Roberson with the pocket collapsing all around, and this will be a secondary sack. Good job downfield for the Zips. Nowhere for Roberson to go.
I really like what Roberson was doing to buy himself some time without, losing his whole control of everything. Staying in the pocket, buying time, but you mentioned it, said it best. I mean, the secondary is not going to get the stats for that, but that was their sack. Spriggs and Boswell, 2 backup linebackers who are stepping up because of Cooper being out.
And Boswell, a true freshman, keep in mind. 2nd down and 11. Roberson again steps up, throws, and it's broken up. Beautifully timed by Roderick Hunter as he was looking for Gaithings.
Nice job by Roberson again, climbing the pocket. Looked like it was one Gaithings should have caught against his former team. And Rod Hunter wins this battle.
Gaithings started his career with Akron, had a really good year for the Zips, leading Akron in 2023 with 55 catches. At the transfer portal, went to UConn last year, and now part of this Buffalo offense. Roberson's going to run, dump it off, ball juggled, caught. Henderson hangs on to it, but it will be shy of the first down.
Gage Summers almost had a chance to intercept that as the ball was being batted in the air by Henderson.
So now a decision for Buffalo. Your defense is playing well right around midfield. In fact, smack dab right on the 50-yard line, and without hesitation, Pete Limbo sends out the punting unit. This is becoming a field position first half.
Yeah, I would do the exact same thing. I would not give either of these offenses a short field because the defenses have shown you might get a first down or 2, but they have tightened up.
End over end kick, well done by one of the top punters in the conference, Dylan Drennan. 40 yards on the punt. Akron will have it deep in their own end. The Zips on the road lead it by 1. 3-2, Akron out in front, 10:29 to go. Quarter number 2 from Western New York. Beautiful fall afternoon. And an Akron team this year that has been inconsistent offensively, but when they have been at their best, they have been able to run the football, and this is an upward trajectory. Year 4 for Joe Moorhead, getting an offensive line that's starting to blend and really having 2 very talented backs to get the job done.
Yeah, Coach Moorhead said he believes this is the best offensive line they've had in 4 years.
They're going to come out throwing, and they are going to go deep. A lot of contact downfield, and the flag is thrown. Looks Sive on the intended target.
Interference, defense, number 1.
Cooper with the interference. From the shadows of their own end, they are not playing conservative, going deep to the true freshman from Perry.
Nice opportunity, and you see Cooper go down. He was asking for the penalty against Sivon. A lot of contact, but not a bad ball from Finley either.
Up to 25 after the penalty, and there goes Gant sneaking through a little hole, tried to make one more additional cut. Lost his footing, but that's a pickup of 10 and a first down for Jordan Gant, the transfer from Tennessee State.
We talked about the offensive line and their success in the running game. Look at the huge block coming through by Masai King on Red Murdoch. That allowed Gant move the chains, 10-yard carry.
They hit the transfer portal, not just at running back, but also on the offensive line. First down, back-to-back carries for Gant. It's a good surge over the right side as he picks up 5 more. Crawford the tackle.
And obviously Joe Moorhead has forgotten more about offensive play calling than I've ever known. But when you look at this and what they're able to do to establish the run, you want to say keep feeding Jordan Gant and Sean Patrick the football, which will open up some of those RPO options for Finley to get it to the guys on the outside.
This time Buffalo does a much better job. You look at the Akron offensive line. We mentioned the transfers they brought in. Darrell Johnson, a tackle they brought in from Western Kentucky. Ari Archer, who they use at one of the guard positions, a transfer from Coastal Carolina and East Carolina. Cy King, who is down holding his shoulder. Junior, they went the junior college route, so they had to fill some holes. They've done a good job of doing that with players like King and building the depth necessary to really go through the rigors of a full college football season anymore. You better be able to play 6, 7, 8 guys on that offensive line.
Yeah, that's the trend. I felt like when we were playing, or at least when I was, you had 5 offensive linemen and they played the whole game. Now they rotate almost as much as running backs and wide receivers.
Third down and 4. Under the middle. Oh, and a catch is made. No, incomplete. Broken up. Big hit by Buffalo. Murdoch again in the vicinity. Looked like Williams had it, but charged free by the hit.
That was a bang-bang play. Red Murdoch right on Marcel Williams. And you see Ben Finley, I call it gunslinger mentality, but he will throw a football into a shoebox if he thinks it's there. That was a pretty good ball, but difficult catch for Williams to make with Red Murdoch on top of you.
He is fearless, and there's not a throw that he feels he cannot make. On the confident approach. Speaking of confidence, this one rolling inside the 15, inside the 10, down to the 9. Buffalo cannot get out from the shadows of their own end zone. They will have it when we come back. Defensive dogfight for Buffalo. Tim Tibesar was one heck of a linebacker back in his day at North Dakota, part of the North Dakota Hall of Fame, and his defense in this first half has got the job done. Ryan Cavanaugh, you look at what he has been able to do. What's been the secret containing one of the top offenses in the MAC thus far to just 53 yards?
It starts up front. Plan A in Coach Tibbs' defense is get pressure with 4 only. And I think we've seen one blitz where Summers came in the entire first quarter and almost half of the second quarter, which means those 4 guys are able to get to Roberson, get him off schedule, and they can commit more people to the back half in the pass defense.
Running to the boundary side, picking up 2 yards. Tibesar was part of Jonathan Smith's inaugural staff out at Oregon State, and he told us, quite frankly, that was probably the worst Power 5 defense. They went 1-11, the team that he inherited. And I asked him, well, what's been the difference building Oregon State and building Akron? And he said, 4, 5, 6-year development. I had that opportunity at Oregon State. Not the case at Akron. And into the secondary. And a big burst for Victor Snow as he gets Buffalo some breathing room out past the 25. But I thought that was interesting. If you get opportunities year after year to develop the talent, the results are going to follow. He just hasn't had that at Akron in his 4 years.
Well, that's because of the portal and the fluidity of the rosters. But when you look at some of the guys who are contributing here, it's because they've been in his system.
First time, Roberson going deep. Nick McMillan out there, makes the catch. Inside the 20 to the 19. The first time they have dialed up the long ball. 51 yards.
Beautiful pass by Taquan Roberson as McMillan able to get behind the defense. And the offensive line does a good job. It's important for these deep passes that Roberson's able to step into it. He had room to do that. He drops it in the bucket for Nick McMillan.
Beat DeWalt and Flowers. Now to the ground game they go, trying to keep the legs churning, but no hole to be found for Lamar Sperling.
Another big play by Bruno Dahl. He's not going to get the tackle, but he was able to pressure Sperling, make him reroute, and impact his run by hitting him low before the teammates, Amai Branch, came in to clean him up. Bruno Dahl, like I said, he will play close to, if not 100% of the defensive snaps, and his motor and his engine are always in high gear.
Sperling stays in the game. He's the slot to the bottom. Snow is a decoy. Roberson on a keeper all the way. Lassoed around the waist as Roberson takes it up to the 17, bringing a 3rd down for Buffalo. As we approach 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Offense today a premium.
Buffalo has not been able to establish the running game between the tackles. The most success they have is the jet sweep to Victor Snow. And absent one moderate gain by Henderson, have not had a lot of success.
3rd down and 8. Roberson with time, little drag pattern caught shy of the 1st down, and a good open field tackle is made by Mekhi Flowers. That's a tough task to bring down Victor Snow in open space, but Flowers up to the challenge.
He grabs him, secures him, and wrestles him to the ground, but it's because of the position. He's able to see Snow crashing, and he takes the appropriate angle, because really the key to stopping Victor Snow is get on him before he gets started. If he's able to square his shoulders and do the jitterbug and the quickness, twitchiness, it's going to be a long afternoon trying to bring him to the ground.
Jack Howes has been really good this year. 8 of 10 on the season. They run the fake. They flip it to Howes, and Akron was not fooled. The bag of tricks not working. Jamari Somerville, the redshirt sophomore, the transfer they brought in from James Madison this offseason, said, nuh-uh, not on my watch.
Somerville looked like he knew what the play was prior to the snap, because he met the kicker exactly as he caught it. We've got more action here in Buffalo. Defensive battle. Stick around.
Missed opportunity for Buffalo. They tried to go into the bag of tricks. Halloween approaching on this fake field goal.
Well, they're looking to get it to the wing on the right, and this was going to be a pass the whole way for Jack Howes. However, defender Jabari Summerfield saw it all develop right in front of him, and Howes had no chance of getting rid of that football.
Evan King was the tight end. They tried to slip out, but he was covered downfield, and then Somerville, as you mentioned, no time for Howes to throw it. Now the ball nearly intercepted by Murdoch off the fingertips of Marcel Williams.
Buffalo brought pressure right up the middle, and the back trying to watch the back. Sean Patrick dives at the legs, and he's still able to get in the face. That was Deion Crawford, the running mate with Red Murdoch, and it hurried Ben Finley's throw. Too much sriracha on that ball, almost picked off the deflection.
Finley 4 of 12. Steps up. This one nobody home. He was looking toward the direction of Mason, but he had two defenders on him. Brown was shadowing the ball along with John Keogh. And will this be intentional grounding? That's the question coming in. At least the Buffalo sideline. Pete Lembo pleading the case, but there was not a receiver in the vicinity. The closest was Mason.
Yeah.
Intentional grounding. Offense number 10. The penalty is lost at the spot of the foul. Third down.
Yeah. You know, there's intentional grounding where you can see it and you know that's what the quarterback's trying to do. This is, and I believe it might have been Israel Polk, the inside receiver that trips. He ran a stick route, and I think Finley thought he was going to run a flag. So it's not that he's, see, there's number 5, Polk, who pulls up. Or, as you said, Mason needed to get further outside on the flag, but clearly Ben Finley was not trying to throw that football away. He just wasn't on the same page with his receivers.
Penalty really puts them behind with the loss of down. Third down, and it's picked off this time. A fluttering ball. Jalen McNair inside the 15, picks up a block, runs into Malin White, his buddy, and Buffalo's defense trying to steal the show in this second quarter. There is a flag down as well. McNair trying to fire up the fans.
This is the momentum shift and impact play that the Bulls have been looking for all afternoon. And look at that, McNair's throwing the ball into the stands. I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
He just did.
The ruling on the field is an interception. During the return, a legal low block, intercepting team number 8. 15-yard penalty, first down.
McNair the interception, and then one of his teammates, as he worked his way near the goal line with the illegal block going low, but that is the spark that both of these teams were looking for. The question, who is going to step up and make the play, and it's McNair coming up big.
And there's pressure again, and Ben Finley had to get rid of the football. Kyan Mason was running over the middle and frankly never looked up for the ball and wasn't able to make an adjustment to help out Ben Finley. And Savion Brown, the recipient, playing center field. Football goes right to him. Bulls are taking over at the 25.
Starting position. Let's see if they can take advantage of it, and a good run. Hop skipping through a little bit of a crevice, some daylight for Henderson, and they are inside the red zone. McNair with the interception, his second pick of the year. He now has 2 of the 3 interceptions generated by the Buffalo secondary this season. Defense that really hadn't generated a lot of takeaways throughout the year, near the bottom of the MAC. Roberson's going to move, throw on the run, and it is a perfect throw and catch. Victor Snow.
This defensive coordinator, Joe Bowen, after the interception, and that was after the penalty of the interception, I believe, because he's looking at almost getting 6 points for the defense and backing it up to the 25. But Victor Snow has put this Bulls offense just about to the spot where Savion Brown was tackled. Not happy, is fair to say.
First down and goal. They will hand it off, looking for the cutback lane and driving ahead. The ball popped out late, and it's recovered by Akron. Johnson jumped on top of it, and Buffalo gives it right
The ruling
back.
on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Akron.
Johnny on the spot for DeMarco Johnson. And the Zip defense not to be outdone.
Big time turnover. I believe it's Ronald Hall and Cyrus Durham in on the tackle. You're going to see the ball squirt out. Yeah, there's Hall, number 5, ripping at the football. And that ball's out. DeMarco Johnson falls on it, but you see Hall again grabbing the football, pulling, and if you're a running back and you are in a pile like that, that's what defenders are taught to do. Get the football and pull it out. DeMarco Johnson recovers the fumble, already has 1 interception on the season. That was last week, so 2 consecutive weeks. DeMarco Johnson creates a turnover for the Zips defense.
6th-year player, and he is one of the guys who has played a lot of football for Akron. And now on the jump cut, accelerating up to the 5, goes Gant. 3 minutes to go in this first half. The only scoring, a long field goal by Schramm for Akron, 45 yards. And then on special teams, the safety for Buffalo, 3-2. Who would have predicted this?
Literally nobody.
2nd down and 7. On the read play, Finley sticking it in the gut of Gant. And a 3rd down. This is big for Akron. Move the sticks, prevent Buffalo from really getting the football in good shape.
What's interesting here is, will Akron snap the ball before the 2-minute timeout? I would suggest no. Because right now, similar to Buffalo last week against UMass, they have all 3 timeouts. And if Akron doesn't convert on 3rd down, Buffalo most likely will get the football with 3 timeouts in good field position.
This is 2-minute timeout.
Trudge along, and we hit the 2-minute timeout. Akron 1-3. They know it's a must-win to keep any hopes of a conference championship alive. Buffalo trying to stay perfect. If you like offense, this is not the place right now. Akron, since their first drive, 3 punts, a turnover. Buffalo, not much better. 7 drives, 5 punts. Turnover on downs and a turnover. Crawford ends up with the football on the bottom of this play.
30-second timeout. Please reset the game clock to 1 minute and 54 seconds.
Akron keeping the ball on the ground with Gant, who was slow to get up as well.
Correction, 1 minute and 55 seconds.
Adjusting the time to when Buffalo called the timeout. Limbo's going to get the football back in great shape. But Ryan, these offensive numbers, these two teams now after that last third down, they combined 2 of 15 on third downs in the first half as well.
And they've struggled, and when you look at the turnovers as well, neither team looks to want to get the ball into the end zone. Inopportune times for turnovers, and this is a dangerous play for Akron just because Buffalo is so adept at blocking punts. Keep an eye on number 6, Miles Greer.
Joseph Castle, who had a snap go through his hands earlier in this first half, resulting in the safety, gets a terrific kickoff. High, towering punt, and a fair catch signaled by Victor Snow. That's exactly what Akron needed from the junior Joseph Castle. 52 yards on the big boomer from Castle.
And remember, Castle's the punter where the ball went through his hands, but on the last punt he had, it rolled down to around the 10 or just inside the 10, and now in a very dangerous position, a tough spot to punt from your own end zone. He drops a beauty to flip the field. So Castle is doing some things in a positive way to redeem himself from the safety.
Plenty of time, 2 timeouts for Roberson in the offense. Buffalo goes to work. Taquan Roberson spins it near sideline. Victor Snow, another catch. Snow with his 6th reception in this first half. It's good for a first down, 11 yards.
Terrence Thomas, another defender. You see Somerville on your screen there. These guys are filling in because, as we mentioned, Justin Anderson, Alex Branch not able to go today.
Pressure up the middle. Roberson dodges and now goes into a protective slide. Went down awkwardly. Spriggs from the front side, and there was pursuit from Laventure on the backside. Nearly got sandwiched between the two. Clock continues to move. Buffalo lined up. Still with 2 timeouts. They run a stunt. Roberson with some air. McMillan goes up and incomplete. Did not control it coming down to the turf.
The field is an incomplete pass.
That's a ball Nick McMillan normally brings in.
He's coming off an outstanding week last, but you're going to see him go up and get it, and as he twists, this ball's going to come out and hit the turf. That you said it. Normally he brings it in. Last week, 10 catches for 119 yards. Best game of the season for McMillan. He's really turned into an excellent second option to Victor Snow.
It's a local product, grew up right here in Buffalo. 3rd down and 8, and that is incomplete. Broken up on the play. Terrific job by Elijah Reed, the transfer from Kentucky. And Buffalo to punt the football with 1:09. And Akron with all 3 timeouts.
Back and forth we go. This is outstanding coverage and technique by Elijah Reed. He's going to be right on the back of the receiver and watch him reach in at the right time from the front side and knock the ball away. 3 timeouts and Ben Finley's arm for Akron.
Zips will set up the return. Drennan gets the angle kick near side, bounces inside the 10. Takes a lateral bounce, now back in the right direction for Buffalo and comes to rest. 40 yards for Drennan, and late in this first half, both punters all-stars right now in a game in which every inch is coveted.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's a defensive battle when we're talking about the punters as being the respective MVPs for the teams. Look at defensive coordinator Joe Bowen, who has to be proud of the effort his team went out and did in this first half. What's interesting is Buffalo still has 2 timeouts. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Moorhead runs the football and does exactly what he did on the last series, which is stay very conservative and be very cognizant of the clock, because there's plenty of time for a 3 and out and for Buffalo to get the ball back.
First down, they will run the football. Gant takes it up to the 12. Buffalo not utilizing the timeouts. Akron in the same boat. Neither team too much of a hurry here. Both, I'm sure, wanting to regroup offensively in the locker room.
Call this a gentleman's agreement to end the half early.
Without a handshake. No handshake required on this one.
Timeout. Buffalo. Their second and a half. 30 seconds. Please reset the game clock to 27 seconds.
So
interesting.
Buffalo says not so fast. Let's use the timeout. 3rd down and 5.
Yeah, you either use them on 1st and 2nd down or use them on 2nd and 3rd. So now if Akron is unable to get requisite 5 yards, Buffalo will take another timeout and potentially have an opportunity for Victor Snow to make a play in the return game, or fair catch it and have 1 or 2 snaps. Again, all predicated on whether or not Akron can get the first down.
Joe Bowen's defense tremendous in this first half, containing Akron to just 60 yards, and they have kept them from converting on 3rd down. 0 for 7 today. Some late changes by Finley. Switches Newell to the left. He will hand it off. This is Gant, and Buffalo will use the timeout. That ball popped out really late. Buffalo pointing as if it's their football. No word yet from the officials as they come together. A very important decision coming.
The ruling on the field is a fumble.
I think Murdoch got it.
Ripped it. First down, Buffalo.
Second takeaway in this quarter for the Bulls.
And I think Red Murdoch is the one who stripped the football. And if he did, he will tie Khalil Mack as the all-time forced fumble leader in NCAA football. And you see, he's getting some congratulations. Look at number 2 at the back of the pile. And he goes in and rips it out.
It indeed is Murdoch with the NCAA record tying forced fumble. Prying the ball away.
Yeah, I was going to say pending review, because inside 2 minutes. But he not only did he rip it, but he also recovered it. And you know he's feeling it right now. It's just unbelievable what he's been able to do throughout his career.
Look at the names and the one that he's going to move into a tie with pending this review. Khalil Mack, the great Buffalo linebacker. How appropriate for Red Murdoch and a program that has produced incredible linebacker talent throughout the years.
And one of them's here today, Sean Dolak. And how appropriate would it be? Dolak was the running mate next to Red Murdoch last season, where they were 1 and 2 in the MAC in tackles virtually. He's got a bye week. He's able to be here today. It's Deion Crawford, the man who's down. Speaking of running mates. And for Dolak to be here on the record-tying forced fumble is very appropriate.
Stripped it and recovered it himself. Took it right away from Gant. This call stands, which we think it will. That'll be 5 forced fumbles over the last 5 games for Red Murdoch. And this one, the NCAA record time mark. 16 now in his career. He and Khalil Mack. No one has done it more. A long history of the NCAA. Buffalo now in great shape. Only 21 seconds. Roberson lofting toward the end zone, looking for Gaithings, and here comes the flag. Reed was a little too quick as he tried to break it up. Came in with his chest and denied Gaithings a chance to come back to the ball.
Pass interference. Defense. Number 11. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Gaithings had him beat. If you are Elijah Reed, this is better than giving up a touchdown. He knew he was beat, and when he saw Gaithings leave his feet for the football, he knew, I've got to interfere with him. placing it at the 2-yard line.
So if you're Buffalo, you can try running the football still with the timeout. They have one remaining. Coughed it up earlier around this part of the field. They go to the air, back shoulder, looking for McMillan, and again another flag comes in. And for the second straight play, it's going to be Elijah Reed.
Pass interference. Defense, number 11. Half the distance to the goal. Automatic first stop.
Yeah, Reed was holding on to the left arm of McMillan. We just saw moments ago pleading his case to the official, but that looked pretty clear. And he was holding down the left arm of Nick McMillan. Now, your question arises again. Do they give the ball to Al-Jay Henderson?
And he's not even in there right now. They have James McNeil, the redshirt freshman, lined up to Roberson's right. First and goal after the penalty. Roberson's going to move the pocket wide open, and Buffalo finds the end zone for the first time. Patrick Clax. And a half dominated by the defense. Maybe the biggest star on either defense. Red Murdoch sets up the final 6.
Very fitting, and you see Clax coming in motion back over and just gets lost behind the offensive line. On the snap, he runs the arrow route to the pylon, and Clax was the only football player in that area. Roberson hits him, and they're going to go for 2 because of this awkward score.
Roberson with his 11th touchdown pass of the year, and now the 2-point conversion to try to go up 7 at the break. Roberson looking right, nothing there, comes back left, lobs it, 2 points, Buffalo, patience, and he found Velez, the tight end, and the Bulls with some late momentum to close out a rugged first half of football.
Patience is exactly right. Roberson just staying calm, hanging in there, hanging in there. They had quads, 4 receivers to the top until they motioned Henderson into the backfield, and Velez comes all the way to the opposite pylon. Roberson knew he had him dragging. He just had to wait. And a nice touch pass from Roberson. 11th touchdown pass of the season for Taquan Roberson. And in a defensive battle, it's another big play by a defense that sets up the first touchdown. And that is the record-tying forced fumble by Red Murdoch. What's in the water at Buffalo? I mean, the 2 top guys both played here at Buffalo with Mack and Murdoch.
And you go beyond even those 2 great guys. You mentioned Sean Doliak, who's here watching this game, a bye week for the Rams. Joanne Treason, who's playing for Buffalo. The great Khalil Mack. Khalil Hodge. It has been linebacker after linebacker throughout the years at Buffalo, and now Red Murdoch, his time to imprint his name firmly among the great linebackers. And how about Sean Doliak in the house? He was in the weight room earlier this week lifting with the guys, and the consensus All-American from a year ago, 168 tackles en route to winning the MAC Defensive Player of the Year, and he was with the Buffalo Captains to start this game at midfield with the flip of the coin.
And that graphic, it says undrafted free agent at the bottom. And after watching what Doliak did for so many years here, it still blew my mind that one of these NFL teams didn't look at the tape and say, this guy is going to be a stud for us. We're going to draft him.
Pete Lidbo said nobody prepared or watched film like Doliak. And Red Murdoch is one of those guys who had the opportunity to really learn under his shadow. And now Murdoch keeping the strong tradition alive. It was Murdoch's forced fumble and recovery that set up Buffalo's only offense in the first half. And they lead 10-3 at the break. Akron to get the football first in the second half. Really not for the faint of heart. Defenses really showed up to play in this one. Buffalo gets the late touchdown. The front leading Bulls by 7.
Back in March, when Bowling Green hired Eddie George, the 1995 Heisman Trophy winner, as its new head football coach, it seemed clear he would be the face of the program. But things have changed. Pudge the cat, Bowling Green's unofficial mascot.
Pudge is like Julius Caesar around here, you know. When he comes down the street, the crowd parts. You know, they throw rose petals at his feet. He is the rock star.
Pudge Mania took off in early August at training camp. That was when Finn Hogan, a senior receiver, first encountered senior long snapper George Carlson's 3-year-old exotic short hair.
I was in the training room and someone came in and was like, hey, like there's a cat hanging out in one of the lockers in the locker room. I was like, what? So I had to go check it out like anybody else would.
Hogan decided to post a video of Pudge to TikTok and Instagram. In an instant, a feline star was born. When you brought him into the locker room, what was the reason?
We had a tough practice before where people were kind of emotional and coaches were emotional. And so I thought, you know, what wouldn't be a better thing to bring my cat in and kind of switch things up.
2 months later, and Pudge is sitting pretty. A fat cat with NIL deals pouring in. He travels to road games where hotels have been known to exempt him from their no pets policies. He even has security. Actually, Assistant Athletic Director Taylor Jefferson.
No one signed me up for it, but you got to dress for the job that you want. That's what you always hear. It's a job I take very seriously. He needs the security. There's lots of people out there who want a piece of Pudge.
For his part, the Falcons head coach betrays no resentment regarding his demotion on the depth chart.
Love the cat. He is amazing. Although I'm allergic to him, with the cats.
Pudge the cat has become the story. People say, hey, can you drive to Cleveland to have Pudge on a radio show? I'm like, it's radio. He doesn't talk.
Pudge, thank you for making the time for us. I know you have a busy schedule and you're in the process of grooming yourself. What has this been like for you? Becoming one of the biggest celebrities of the college football season.
But the power of Pudge transcends speech. For George Carlson, Pudge has been a constant source of comfort and strength, especially after his mother, Kristen, was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. She died last year at the age of 57.
I needed to make sure that I had somebody to talk to or be able to get me out of a dark mindset that I could get into. So Pudge was great. I think just having a companion was the best thing for me. He's brought me a lot of joy, a lot of comfort, especially in tough times, and allowing other people to have smiles on their faces from just seeing Pudge. I think it's a huge thing.
What's in it for Pudge?
What makes Pudge happy is this. It's not the celebrity. What he loves to do is to ease the spirits of broken souls. My only concern is I just want him to enjoy his life. He just wants to be a cat, man. He just wants to love. He wants to hang out. He just wants to get the sunshine. He wants to have snacks. He wants to be cuddled. Let Pudge just be Pudge sometimes.
And welcome back. Buffalo halftime with the Akron Zips and the Buffalo Bulls. Hard to imagine, but the month of November is upon us, so that means midweek action. We have a couple of Saturday games next weekend and two very good ones. Buffalo at Bowling Green, 12 noon Eastern on ESPN+. And then the big rivalry game, Central Michigan at front-runner Western Michigan. That's on ESPNU at 4 o'clock. And then, Ryan, we move into midweek action.
Akron returns home to the friendly confines of InfoCision, welcoming UMass. How about the Battle of the Bricks? Miami at Ohio, always an exciting matchup. Toledo at Northern Illinois, and Muncie, Indiana. Ball State, they host Kent State. You'll see it's TBD on the network designations. Those will be announced on Monday, depending on how today's games shake out.
Such a fun time of the year. Midweek action upon us. A lot of work to do before then. We'll be back with more from Buffalo after this.
Strange game.
It's been all about the defense in the first half from Buffalo today. Both defenses swarming early.
And being very stingy in the back half as well as pressuring the quarterback. One thing that I will say is a very positive in this game was the surety of the tackles and the pressure on the quarterbacks.
Plenty of miscues as well both ways. Offense just ugly at times. Akron only 60 yards of offense, and then the key play in the first quarter, the snap on the punt right through the hands of Castle. Buffalo gets their first points of the day via the safety.
All of Buffalo's points have come off of, well, technically the safety's not a turnover, but from special teams or defenses. And Red Murdoch's strip and forced fumble and recovery set up a short field, which allowed Buffalo to score the only touchdown. We're going to take a look at it here.
The NCAA record-tying strip by Red Murdoch, and then that set up the late touchdown pass to Clax. So you talk about a game really doing a 180 late, but in that process, Red Murdoch with the strip now ties Khalil Mack for the most forced fumbles in the long history of the NCAA. And for Akron, a drop right out of the locker room from Jake Newell, and a well set up play there from Ben Finley, who paid the price behind. He took quite a shot. So Ryan, you look at Akron right now. This is an offense that obviously has struggled. Just the 60 yards of total offense, 0 of 8 on third downs. What's the message? What's the adjustment that they need to figure out in the second half?
I think they need to establish the running game. Jordan Gant at times has been very good running behind this offensive line, but it's the consistency, and I don't know how you teach that, because as soon as they start stringing together good plays and first downs, something always happens to short circuit their offensive drives.
One place to start would be convert on third down.
Neither team has been very good at that this afternoon.
3rd and 3. Akron looking for their first conversion of the day, and they will get it. Polk with his first catch as he reels it in at the 38. And this is an important drive. I know it's early opening drive, second half, but you look at the emotional finish to the first half. Murdoch sets NCAA history. Akron thinking they're going to go up a point at the break. All of a sudden looking up at that scoreboard, giving up that late 6. How will they respond? Because this is a team that has been hit in the chin in the past.
And I think that's well said. I think the intangible of this drive, the momentum and the response is so important, because if the Akron doesn't come down and put points on the board and Buffalo goes and does it as well, it's a 2-score game. And frankly, Akron at times this season, when they get down, they haven't shown the response necessary to get back into the game.
2nd down and 9. They bring a corner blitz with Cooper over the middle. Tremendous catch. Now it's stripped away at the last second. Let's see if it's a catch or not. Walker still down on the turf.
The ruling on the field is a completed pass.
So he did control it.
Timeout for an injured player on the offense.
And he took a big hit. Terrific catch by Walker. And now the medical attention on the 5th-year senior. Ruled a catch. The attention on the fallen receiver. Boy, you hate to see this. For the second straight year, Miles Walker earned the distinction of wearing jersey number 1 for his work ethic and putting absolutely no pressure on either leg as he was carried off the field a few moments ago. Walker, the 5th-year senior, really one of the leaders in the locker room. And Ryan, look at the toughness that he showcased on this catch, having the courage to haul it in despite the hit from Solomon Brown and Red Murdoch.
Yeah, just an unfortunate landing because of the bodies that were on top of him as he came to the ground.
On first down, Finley, little hitch patter, making the catch is Marcel Williams as he spins away from Marquise Cooper. And keep in mind, Akron coming into this game, Williams, who just caught that last ball, banged up. They told us that Cameron Montero was going to be a question mark. He is dinged up right now, and lose Miles Walker on the opening drive of the 3rd quarter. Receiving room that was a strength so far this year, running out of bodies. 2nd down and 3. They come back, near side throw, and this is incomplete. Cooper able to break it up.
Akron has went to the short passing game, the quick hitches and quick outs on this drive with some success, but now take a look to see if we see a double move or a deeper route, because as you can see, the corners are starting to creep up to try to take that quick game away from Akron.
That's one way to slow down what was a pretty potent Buffalo pass rush in the first half. 3rd down and 3. Mason, who's been quiet, in motion. Finley looking his direction, settles for the tight end, and a tremendous jump on the ball by the freshman Blackwell, excuse me.
Kobe Blackwell got the start last week. This is the first time we've called his name. This is a tremendous break on the football. And even with Ben Finley's strong arm, it's still a long way for the ball to travel on the far side out. And what looked to be a promising drive for Akron is now 4th and short.
See if Akron indeed is going to go for it. They nearly got Buffalo jumping. Game in which both coaches have played field position. Be shocked to see if Akron indeed takes a snap here, and they will let the play clock wind down. No, they're going to use a timeout, so that indicates that they might be thinking about going for this on 4th down.
Yep, from what I could see, I believe they are going to go for it. They just couldn't get their guys lined up. Newell and I believe Marcel Williams were rotating back in and out. You had your quarterback Ben Finley trying to get him set, and finally the sideline had to burn a timeout. I always say timeouts are like currency. You want to get something from it.
Exactly.
And right here, if that is in fact what it was, is an inability to get lined up, you know, I'm not sure what you're getting from that, except if they get a first down and continue this drive, then you could look back on it and say, that was a good timeout.
Joe Moorhead really has enjoyed his time the last couple of years working with Ben Finley day in, day out. Big play early on this opening drive of the 2nd half. 4th down, they go to the tight end, room to run. Krayback, the tight end, inside the 20, drug down at the 13. The gamble pays off. Solomon Brown the stop. Krayback with his first catch of the day, good for 27.
This is almost the exact same play Buffalo ran for their 2-point conversion, or their touchdown rather, to Clags. And you look at Krayback, the big fella, makes a man miss, continues to get more yards after contact. Excellent play call by Coach Moorhead. They got exactly what they wanted, and Finley converted.
Krayback had 3 catches last week. With Newell's injury this year, he has been the tight end of choice. Finley for the end zone, jump ball, nearly a one-handed catch by Williams. Blackwell again breaking it up. Marcel Williams nearly had a MAC highlight.
There was a lot of good things on this play. The coverage by Blackwell is great. The ball placement by Finley's great. And the effort by Marcel Williams was top-notch, but unable to make what you used to call it an OBJ catch. Now it's every wide receiver can do that. So unfortunately, OBJ is...
Every tight end can do it anymore.
That's right.
Second down and 10. A lot of pre-snap motion. They swing it out, making the catch inside the 10, stepping out of bounds at the 9 goes Sean Patrick. The more you watch Patrick, you see why they are so creative in trying to get him ball in space.
Yeah, he's very dynamic. And you want to get him to the outside, not always that easy coming out of the backfield. So the swing route is a great option. Ben Finley, when you see him throw that swing route with that touch, he's not just a strong arm quarterback, he can finesse it as well.
2 receivers right, that's Mason and Polk. Marcel Williams lined up just outside the tight end to the left. Gant back in the game. He flanks Finley to his left. They lob it up into the end zone, going up high. It's a tug of war. Who ends up with it? They're still fighting for the football. Solomon Brown, Kyan Mason. The officials not signaling anything yet.
Ruling on the field is a completed pass for a touchdown.
Now they say it. Touchdown, Akron. It's only appropriate that they score their first touchdown, and it takes 10 seconds to see who ends up with the football on a day like today.
Oh, my goodness.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. The previous play is under further review.
Holy smokes.
Wow. They got man-to-man on the outside 2 receivers, and they run a slot fade to Kyan Mason. He does a nice job of going up top over Solomon Brown. You see that the right hand of Brown come free? So to overturn this, you would have to say that Mason doesn't have it, and Brown has it with his left hand only. Watch Brown's right hand come free. I think that is a catch, and this is going to be upheld. And Kyan Mason will have his 4th touchdown in the season, the 2nd in 2 weeks. He has been a fast riser for these Akron Zips.
Mason.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
As you described, Ryan, they're going to hold the call here. They'll keep it the 6, and Mason with another touchdown catch. Which Moorhead told us, soaking wet, he is 151 pounds. A ferocious competitor who has really stepped up. You go back to last year, saw limited action. They were really deep in the receiver room. His first career catch was a touchdown, guess who? Against Buffalo. And now you push the fast forward button a year ahead. He's a frequent part of the passing game and a real testament to the type of fiery personality he is. He's 151 pounds, but there was no way Solomon Brown was going to rip this one away from number 3. Mason and the Zips tie it up. Akron goes 12 plays, 75 yards. Ben Finley with his 12th touchdown pass of the year. Kyan Mason, a terrific catch. Mason, who they described as fearless, showed some of that trait on that last touchdown catch.
Kyan Mason was a player from St. Edward High School in Cleveland, where so many big talents have come, and early in his high school he had a lot of big offers, but as Coach Moorhead said, he just never grew into the kind of frame that a lot of the Power 4 teams are looking for. But his talent and his athletic ability, how he goes up and gets the football, as we just saw, is Power 4 all day.
Continue with the short kicks. Buffalo brought their return men up, and the Bulls will have it at the 32. You go back real quickly to Kyan Mason. This is a team last year that lost Bobby Golden to the transfer portal to Louisville. Adrian Norton went to Marshall. Alex Adams, last couple of years, just can't get healthy, so they needed receivers to step up, and Mason has answered the call.
Yeah, Alex Adams injured again this year and decided to redshirt, get one more chance to play, but the opportunity is one that Kyan Mason has grabbed the brass ring in that wide receiver room, especially as of late.
Buffalo with their first drive of the second half, and they run to the boundary side, and Al-Jay Henderson finishing off the run, barreling his way to the 41, a pickup of 7.
You see Elijah Reed at the end of that play nodding his head, looking at Al-Jay saying, okay, you got me, because that was a collision, and Henderson kept moving afterwards. That's a big running back, tough to bring down.
Trying to get Henderson involved, and he will move the chains, fall ahead to the 49, 8 more yards for the senior from Irvington High School in New Jersey, coming off a 1,000-yard season a year ago. Injured Bull, looks like one of the offensive linemen
player in the offense.
down. Looks like that's Tyler Doty who is down, the 6th-year senior. We'll be back with more from Buffalo after this. Tyler Doty has played a lot of football. He has been the anchor on the right side at his right guard position the last couple of years. Good to see him walking off on his own power. So that means Jake Tim, another veteran who has been plagued by a lower body injury. He's going to get his first reps of the day at center. James Carrington, who really has become the MVP of this offensive line because of his versatility, will shift back to the guard spot where Doty was. First down and 10. Roberson deep. McMillan out there. Right into the basket. First and goal, Buffalo. A strike to Nick McMillan.
Beautiful pass on the play action from Roberson to McMillan. Confident, clean pocket, able to stand into it. Throws a strike. That's the second time McMillan has gotten behind the Zips defense. And another big gain for Nick McMillan through the air.
Buffalo lined up, ready to go. The ball at the 7. They will hand it off over the right side, just outside the tackle, willing his way. Up ahead, hard-fought yards, second and goal. Shelton, sophomore from Franklin High School in Wisconsin. He is a Al J. Henderson twin as far as body goes. He's the bigger back, but provides relief to Henderson when needed. And they love their running back room with obviously Henderson, but they get Birch back today. We saw him in the first half, and Shelton, who's been banged up, and let's not forget about Sperling as well. They go with James McNeil out of the pistol on this second and goal. Two tight ends to the right. This is McNeil stood up, and Akron stiffening up defensively. Spriggs and company. Summers, who quietly has, I think, flown under the radar this year, one of the better linebackers in the MAC.
Yeah, look at number 23 right there on the left side, and look, he reads it. He plays down the line of scrimmage, goes up top on McNeil, forces him back. I agree with you. I think Gage Summers, in a conference full of good linebackers, is one of them. Kwiatkowski at Central Michigan, Erweiler, Northern Illinois, who leads the MAC, and of course Red Murdoch for the Buffalo Bulls.
Third down and goal. Keep an eye on number 0. That's Snow. Roberson on a design run to the boundary side. Won't get there. Spriggs brings down the quarterback, and Akron forces fourth and goal.
This week, Coach Moorhead said they're trying to get Spriggs to 225 to play this position, but this is extreme strength by Spriggs. First of all, not only to corral Roberson in the open field, but doesn't allow him any further yards after contact. Picks him up.
They love Spriggs' athleticism. As you mentioned, he will beef up. Still very young, only a sophomore. Chip shot for Jack Howes, who is now connected on a field goal in every game this year. I think that's a win, though, for Moorhead and the Zips. First and goal inside the 10 as defense bends, but they don't break. Field goal by Howes, and Buffalo a 13-10 lead.
Good answer. Good response from Buffalo. Obviously, you get down first and goal from inside the 5. You want to come away with 6 instead of 3. But being able to reclaim the lead is a big response to an excellent opening drive of the second half for the Akron offense.
25th meeting between these two teams. Buffalo with the slight edge, 13-11. Number of close games throughout the year. Speaking of close games, how about Kent State? They lead Bowling Green 24-21. Buffalo will face Eddie George and Bowling Green next week on the road. Ohio has scored 21 straight. They have jumped out in front of Eastern Michigan late. Everybody else just kicking off as we speak.
Were you the one that said this is an unpredictable conference? Because I remember 2 weeks ago Buffalo knocking off Toledo, who many think was the creme de la creme in the conference, and now Akron, and with interim head coach Mark Carney, about to shock the Falcons.
A lot of people polling for Carney to have that interim tag pulled and made the permanent head coach. I think he's done a terrific job with the program this year.
The mental aspect of getting the players to buy in to what he wants and frankly what their goals are, and to be competitive week in and week out, is enough for me to name him the head coach and remove the interim tag.
Second offensive series for Finley and the Zips. A lot of progress after a very difficult first half. The first half that saw them net only 60 yards. Finley in particular on the drive, 7 of 11. He'll go right back to the air and on the mesh across the field. They settle in on Marcel Williams. Gain of 6 on first down.
Really nice blitz pickup by Jordan Gant. Oh, it's been a tale of two different strategies defensively. Buffalo is pressuring. They're bringing the heat on Finley. And Akron playing more straight up with their front four.
There goes Gant, cuts back to the center, and Jordan Gant out past the 45 to the 46, a gain of 16 yards.
Gant has had a lot of success running between the tackles. And I love bringing the Kravac across, the tight end, and because as he comes across, we saw him catch that big third down pass earlier. The linebackers are going to start widening out, and that creates running lanes through the middle of the field.
Gant spent 3 years at Tennessee State, redshirted in 22, was a freshman All-American, rushing for close to 600 yards in 23, but just did not get on the field consistently enough. Taking a shot, Israel Polk inside the 20, and Akron coming right back at Buffalo. The Zips have it, first and goal. So you talk about a game doing a complete 180. It was all defense in the first half, and now all of a sudden the lid is open, the ceiling open for these two offenses.
You see Ben Finley looking off to the left, freezing those safeties, and then coming over top as Polk wins the one-on-one battle on the outside. Israel Polk is a receiver that's coming on. 72 yards off 5 receptions and 2 touchdowns last week, and he's got a big catch here.
Just like that, first and goal. This will be Gant as he dives ahead to the 5. Did you notice his quarterback, Ben Finley, was downfield trying to lead block for his running back there? That's the competitor that Finley is.
He is. You're going to... Now, there, when you lead the nation in strips, there's always... Look at him coming in and punching. Number 2, Red Murdoch, when you are the all-time leader tied with Khalil Mack, you're always looking for an opportunity to punch, grab, or pull on the football.
Just joining us, he tied Mack's mark late in the first half, his 16th forced fumble of his career. Second down, wide open. It's the tight end, Kravac, and that was easy for Finley and company. Touchdown, Akron.
It's a beautiful play call by Joe Moorhead, very similar to what they ran on that big third down, but he comes across, as you see him so many times, it's the same look when they give it to Jordan Gant on the inside zone. They'll bring the tight end across the formation, smash the opposite side defensive end. This time he runs past him into the route, and Finley hits him for a touchdown.
5 plays, 75 yards. Akron has had the football twice in this third quarter, both times resulting in Ben Finley touchdown passes.
There's the touchdown tire. It came from Akron, Ohio. It's made its way to Buffalo and around the neck of Connor Kravac. But watch Kravac, he's right to the right, and he goes across. Instead of blocking the end, he runs past him, and there's nobody for Buffalo. And that's a great man beater, Sean, because you now have to have a linebacker who's going to follow him across the formation when you have play action Jordan Gant coming right at you. See the cutback by Gant? And that attracts the defensive attention. Connor Kravac wide open.
Really left the safety, Jalen McNair, in no man's land with Finley pulling it out. Kravac slipping off, and Ben Finley, an emotional player, and he has it rolling in the second half. And let's give Akron some credit. Tough way to close out the first half, but they have looked golden on their 2 drives in the third quarter. A pair of 75-yard drives ending in touchdowns. Short pooch kick, and Buffalo at the 31.
One of the ways that I evaluate coaches from an X's and O technical standpoint is what happens when they come out of the half, either on offense or defense. What sort of adjustments have you made and how well are your players adapting to what you want to do differently. And right here, it's clear that Coach Moorhead offensively not only made some very positive adjustments, but that the buy-in from the team is to execute what those adjustments are in the second half.
And if you're a Buffalo fan and Pete Limbo, you're thinking we have Akron right where we want them right now, judging by the history of how this season has went.
All going according to plan.
First down, good velocity on the throw. McMillan had to go down on one knee to make the catch in front of DeWalt. Quick passing game there by Roberson. 16 of 23 for 171 yards.
This truly, wow, Henderson doing some nice, utilizing some nice footwork.
Henderson takes it up near midfield. 12 yards for Al-J. Henderson. Low mix up their tempo, and Henderson to the second wave again. Safety, the last line of defense. Somerville bringing him down, but Al-J. Henderson starting to find his rhythm.
Look at the footwork. This is what's done in the offseason. All those drills, cones, speed ladders. It allows Al-J. Henderson to utilize it here and step in and out of tackles and navigate his way through some tight spaces.
Wholesale changes defensively for Akron. You saw their leader, Julian Laventure, really animated, telling the entire D-line to exit. They brought in 4 new bodies, that top unit. The result with Dole and company stuffing the run. Second down.
Nice play on the edge by Bruno Dahl. Those 4 up front, Dahl, Ron Hall, Cyrus Durham, Julian Laventure, deserve so much credit for how many reps they take in these games.
Squirting through a little hole, good patience up to the 34.
Really nice job by Lamar Sperling getting behind the left side of that offensive line. And when we talk about the offensive line, the left guard, Alex Heininger, has switched to right guard, and Carrington goes to left guard where he's more comfortable. So when Doty went out, you actually have 3 linemen in different spots, including Tim coming in at center.
Tim made his return back to the lineup in a limited role last week with his leg injury. Now the injury to Doty really forcing him to gut it out. Second down, they try to stretch it to the field side. DeWalt, the cornerback, held his position, and then he had plenty of help arriving. Dole once again. Somerville was in the vicinity.
This is going to be a big 4th down play. And again, you want to get the running back going east and west, and you just have guys playing along the line, down the line of scrimmage. DeWalt holding his water.
Injured player on the defense.
DeWalt holding his water against that block on the edge, and the cavalry comes down and gets him. There's a couple guys. Hull is down. Dull is down.
Couple of, yeah, as you mentioned, Dull back up on his feet. Looks like he's favoring his right arm. Meanwhile, on his back is the defensive tackle, Ronald Hull.
And Hull actually lands on top of Dull. And you see Dull immediately. Ron Hall, but for a very pivotal 4th down, though, Sean, we're going to have 2 backups on that defensive front end.
Keep in mind, you saw a pretty animated Pete Limbo there with the new rule change this year. If a player presents as injured after the ball is spotted, that team charged a timeout. In this case, the ball had not been spotted when both those players were down.
That's a great point.
So 4th down coming up, 4th and a yard. Buffalo missed on a 4th down earlier. Victor Snow in motion. He's a decoy, and Roberson, I don't think, got there. This will be really close. What a tackle by Spriggs, who was growing up right in front of us.
The runner was short of the line of gain. First down.
What a day for Melvin Spriggs. Roberson cannot get the yard, and Akron's defense, without 2 of their leaders, both Hole and Dole out of there. It's the young guys stepping up.
Melvin Spriggs has had his number called in a bigger role because Shaman Cooper, their starting inside linebacker, is not in uniform today, and this is a big-time hit. Spriggs stonewalling Roberson short of the sticks. And Akron starting to play complementary football. The defense getting the ball back for the offense, which is 2 for 2 on drives and scoring drives here in the second half.
What an afternoon for Melvin Spriggs. And what a third quarter for the Akron offense. Night and day from what we saw in the first half. Over 8.5 yards per play in the third quarter. Trying to add to the total as they run left side to Patrick. Crosses up to the 35. Brought down by Stewart. Tim Tibesar told us he has to rely on a lot of multiple looks. Akron, a team that will play 3, 4, 5-man down fronts just to try to offset some of the talent that he faces each week from the opponents, and his versatility today has certainly worked. 2nd down and 7. Finley with a clean pocket. He is going deep, trying to make that one-handed back shoulder catch. Was Savon. Seeing more reps. There is a flag down at the Akron 45. So let's see what the laundry is about here.
Pass interference, defense, number 7. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic, first down.
Solomon Brown giving the Zips a first down. This crowd inside UB Stadium getting a little antsy. They clearly sense the momentum with the visitors from Akron winding down the third quarter.
Well, they're used to playing from behind, but they do not want to go into the fourth quarter or start the fourth quarter down 2 scores.
They bring a blitz. Finley hangs in there as long as he can, and this one knocked away.
That was a split second too late. Kobe Blackwell coming across just in a nick of time to punch that ball away. But this is the arm talent. Look at how far this ball has to travel in the air. And the tight window, it doesn't come out of his hand clean. And that may have been the reason that Blackwell was able to get to the ball before the ball got to Polk.
Yeah, he really couldn't step into the throw. He had Deion Crawford bearing down on him. Joe Moorhead, year 4, calling the plays for the Akron offense. 2nd down. This is a run by Finley. Ball loose. He got hit on the backside. Poinzer fighting for it. Does Buffalo have their 3rd takeaway of the day? Still unsorting the pile. Buffalo football.
The ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Buffalo.
Ben Finley slow to get up. And I believe that was Deion Crawford who hit Finley from the back. You know, as a runner, the worst hits are the ones you don't see coming. And as he's working through the hole, it's Poyser. And he hits the shoulder in the back and the ball pops out. Poyser, 310-pound defensive tackle. And they're going to want to take a look at Ben Finley because that was a big-time hit.
310 pounds on a blind side that Finley never saw coming. 3rd takeaway for the Buffalo D. Roberson looking to go deep, still looking, now unloads. Dangerous throw, and it's intercepted by Akron. Kamara, the freshman, comes away with the pick. Oh, my.
For the 2nd time in the game, these 2 teams trade turnovers. Ben Kamara this time full extension going up to intercept the pass, and Roberson almost a 50-50 ball, sort of threw it up for grabs, and Kamara with his eyes in the backfield was able to undercut the pass to Gathings. And we'll see if Ben Finley comes back out.
is. Kamara coming from the junior college ranks, Upper Iowa University, where he was a second-team all-conference player, 3 years at the JC ranks. And Tim Tibesar and his defense does the job again. Gant ramsacked on first down.
Talking about doing the job, Cornell Evans just got deep in the backfield, shut down Gant right past the line of scrimmage. Good first step from Cornell Evans.
Akron will not have to take another snap, and it looks like they are going to let the clock wind down. And this might be, too, just to give Ben Finley a chance to still collect his breath after taking a vicious shot. Junior Poiser. Little talking back and forth.
The end of the third quarter.
I think we have the makings of another Mac Saturday in Buffalo. It has been a bizarre game. Pete Limbo and the Bulls 3-0. One of 3 unbeatens entering this weekend in the MAC. Oh, guess what? He's in another fourth quarter tussle today. Akron looking for the upset on the road. We march to the fourth from Western New York. On a 50-degree day in Buffalo, Ryan Cavanaugh, I think some mothers would appreciate if you would loan some young men your bright orange jacket today to warm up down there.
It's the least I could do.
Chilly day as we start fourth quarter, and a throw and catch up ahead to the 32-yard line. Marcel Williams, who quietly has had a good game, 13 yards. What a day. After a first half that saw 10 punts, we don't see either punter in the third quarter. Today we've seen safety, we've seen field goals, touchdowns, fumbles, interceptions, turnovers on downs. A dogfight in the MAC, and keep in mind, starting today, 3 unbeatens, Buffalo, one of those 3 teams. First down give and a patient run by Gant up ahead to the 36.
The asterisk on that about the 3 unbeaten teams, that the other 2, Western Michigan and Miami, just kicked off down in Oxford. So assuredly, there will be at least one of those teams losing. Pete Lembo's wondering right now, do they have enough in the tank after so many close games and last-second finishes? Do they have enough to stay undefeated here against Akron?
Zips really haven't been able to get the ground game going consistently like they had the last couple of weeks. Gant threw a little hole, and just as I say that, he plunges his way up ahead to the 46 and a first down run for Jordan Gant.
This is a great job at the point of attack, the offensive line for Akron getting up the field. And we just talked about Buffalo and the moving parts. From Akron already, we've seen 7 or 8 linemen, some of them in different spots.
Gant left the game after that last play. Patrick replaces him. Finley still checking over toward the sideline, using all of the play clock inside 5, play clock to 2. Just did get the snap away, shoves Patrick ahead, trying to give him a push after he handed Sean Patrick the football. Alan White sliding down with the tackle for Buffalo, 2nd and 9.
White just crashed in from the left side of that defensive front. We haven't seen Newell in a while. You wonder if something happened to him. He's been in and out of the lineup in games.
Mainly Kravac, last few possessions. Finley with another throw and catch to Israel Polk. And you can see when Finley is in his groove, this offense relying on his shoulder so much.
And it starts with the offensive protection. Look at his feet. He's calm, he's settled, he steps into it. He's got time to step up into the pocket. And he's as accurate as anybody in this conference when he has time to be comfortable, calm feet, throw the football.
He's played a lot of football in a lot of different environments, including some big games throughout his career. First down, he's going to keep it, makes a couple of defenders miss, and there goes Ben Finley straight up the middle to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown! Finley using his feet. Looked like a little Jordan Gant there, losing a couple of defenders, and then the speed to finish. Finley brings it home.
If you would have told me that the longest, most dynamic run of this game would be at the feet of Ben Finley, I would not have believed you. And in this fashion, Finley making a couple defenders miss in the hole and then running away from the deep. Look at the fancy footwork here. And cutting back, covers it with 2 hands, and then running away from the defense. Ben Finley, I was not familiar with your rushing game.
His first rushing touchdown of the year, and all smiles for Finley. Made a couple of defenders miss. One of them maybe the top tackler in the MAC, and Red Murdoch. The closing speed. Akron ups the ante. They enjoy their largest lead of the day. Ben Finley really taking on the leadership role in this second half after a frustrating first half for the Akron offense. They have been motoring up and down the field to a tune of 24 points. Joe Moorhead, what a job making the halftime adjustment with his play calls in the second half.
He's had some big ones. Fourth down conversion to Kravac. The touchdown pass to Mason. Mixing the run and the pass. Saw a couple explosive plays out of the run game to Jordan Gant, and of course nothing more than this touchdown run by Ben Finley.
38 yards for Finley.
Take a look. He shows it to Sean Patrick, and look, he's reading the eyes of Murdoch, and then it looked like he was going to throw the football off an RPO, but instead the delay actually caused Murdoch to over pursue, and he was able to cut back, and then, you know, exactly what we expected.
Started his career at North Carolina State. We mentioned he's played in some big games. Beat North Carolina in the rivalry game as a starter. Actually started a bowl game for the Wolfpack. Went out to Cal as well. Started a pair of games. Roberson says, hey, what you can do, I can do. And Roberson, known for his running, scrambles for close to a first down. Looks like they'll mark it just short. Second and a yard. Oh, now they are going to move the sticks. First down for Taquan Roberson.
It'll be interesting to watch. So Dahl is back in the game, which is a good sign for Akron.
Roberson wanted to go right. Now pressure comes. He's sacked. Ball was loose. Hit on the play by Jontrell Mixon.
Nice pass rush by Jontrell Mixon. And look at the feet of Roberson moving in and out. And that's sometimes when we talked to the coaches this week about it, when the noise gets too loud, when you start getting indecisive, your feet start to move too much.
First sack of the year for Mixon, loss of 7. Roberson picked off. Summers with the interception, goes down to a knee. Akron in control. The defense gets another takeaway. Summers with the pick.
Right on the heels of that, this pass is thrown directly to Gage Summers. And it looked like it was thrown early, but anytime that happens, usually the quarterback doesn't even see the linebacker.
They really missed Gage Summers. He was injured in the UAB game, did not play against Toledo. His 4th game back. He comes away with his first pick. Akron by 11. Big second half by Akron. Look at what the Zips have done. They have turned around the offense. 21 second half points. They're doing it both running the football and throwing. In particular, Ben Finley, not just throwing the ball, his 38-yard touchdown, and the Akron defense getting into the act. Couple of takeaways as Gant accelerates up to the 40. Tim Tibesar entered today really shorthanded. No Alex Branch, no Justin Anderson, 2 starters on the back end. One of his top tacklers, Shimon Cooper, ruled out, yet this defense has responded. 3 takeaways.
They've been outstanding. It's been a big play after big play for this Akron defense.
In no hurry, leading by 11. Finley will milk the play clock all the way down, and a timeout. Moorhead coming down the sideline to call the timeout himself.
Timeout. Akron, their second to half. 30 seconds.
Remember, they used the timeout earlier in the second half. As you go back to Tibesar, who spent a lot of time in the Northwest at Oregon State, spent some time at Wisconsin, Kansas State, even went to the Canadian League with Montreal.
Won a couple Grey Cups there. You know, you mentioned the difficulties that he has coming into this game with that missing production. From their 11 starters from last week, these 3 guys on the season make up 31% of the tackling production. He's had to replace them. However, to begin this season, there was only 1 starter for Akron that had played more than 6 games coming back. His entire front 7 are all brand new starters. So while this is the 4th year in the program for Coach Tibesar, all of his players, the majority of the starters, it's not for them.
The one player who had 6 or more starts last year, Justin Anderson, who's not in uniform on that list you just saw. Good job here with the pursuit by Malin White. Jumped on the back of the ball carrier, drug him down for a TFL, nowhere for Gant to go. Another offensive lineman slow to get up. It's Keelan Davis for the second time today.
For an injured player on the offense.
Davis pointing to his right elbow, the second-year starter. A year that saw a lot of changeover on the offensive line this offseason, bringing in some transfers. Davis, one of the veterans of the group, the preseason All-MAC pick. When you look at the offensive line for Akron and talking to Joe Moorhead, the way he grades it out based off 3 criteria: assignment, effort, and then execution. And he delegates it in a little bit of a different way. He grades each week. 70% of it goes toward the execution, 20% for assignment, and then you have the 10% effort.
Right. And, you know, when you're, I love that, by the way, because it's easy to just say, did you do the right play? Did you do the right thing on this play? You get a plus or a minus. But as you move into that, you know, you start to you start to value and put importance on the really important things.
Joel Rodriguez, orchestrator of the offensive line, to the right of Moorhead, and what a job he's done, because the O-line has been an area of emphasis in the 4 years for Moorhead, trying to get this unit improved, the physicality up front. And this year they feel, really for the first time in 4 seasons, they have a legitimate 2 deep rotation up front with 8 guys.
Coach Moorhead had a lot of good things to say about the job that Joel Rodriguez has done with this unit.
Big play for the Buffalo defense. 3rd down and 8. They hand it off, and Finley, before he could even get the ball handed off, barreling through was the inside linebacker, Deon Crawford. Murdoch gets a lot of the press, and rightfully so, but Crawford quietly having a great year, the junior.
Last year, Crawford was described as a Swiss Army knife for the defense because he could plug and play alongside Dolak and Red Murdoch, and now he's stepped into the shoes of Dolak, and he has produced, been a great 1-2 punch in the inside of that defense with Deon Crawford and Red Murdoch.
He's the enforcer. Here comes Buffalo, and they nearly got there. Bouncing kick angled toward the far side. It's going to be scooped up by Snow, and then he avoided a missile. Good thing for Victor Snow, he did not take the contact. It's a return of 4 off the 39-yard punt. Buffalo in a little bit of trouble here at home, trailing by 11. Beautiful look. Niagara Falls from the Canadian side, Horseshoe Falls, you know. Yeah, Kenny's Cam. I have to give a lot of credit. When I first started in this industry, Ryan, I had a couple of producers, Eric Lilly and Dave Taskin. I have the adventurous side of me. I like to go see some of the remote parts of some of the colleges that I travel to. And they said, bring a camera as they throw and strike to Nick McMillan. They said, bring a camera, record some of that. So the first few times I did it vertically with my camera, that's a no-no. You got to do the horizontal pan, and you got to do it slowly. So it only took me 14 years to finally figure out the craft.
And here you are.
I made it. I made it.
Your own segment. I personally, that was beautiful. It was great camera work, yeah.
All kudos to Eric and Dave. Here's a deep shot. McMillan, who's been the home run threat today, makes another catch. A beautiful throw by Roberson, and here comes Buffalo.
Nick McMillan on the go route gets past Malcolm DeWalt. And Roberson has been on the money with his deep passes. Third time for McMillan getting behind the Akron defense.
Buffalo lined up, ready to go. They bring a blitz and open on the far side, and Roberson clicking right now. Catch is made by Gaithings. 9 yards, and just like that, they have turned the field. This drive started back at the 13. 3 completions later, they're knocking on the red zone. Second and short, hop skipping through a hole, and a first down carry. And into the red zone for Buffalo. Good news for the Bulls as well. Tyler Doty back out there at his guard position after leaving the game in the first half.
Keep an eye on the bottom left inside Victor Snow. He doesn't have a catch yet in the second half.
Roberson looking, checks down, and it's dropped through the hands of his running back, Al-Jay Henderson. Would have been a minimal gain. Elijah Reed had him shadowed.
Unexpected drop from Henderson, who comes in with 22 receptions on the season. Touchdown reception. There's the big guy. Tyler Doty and Trevor Brock have been 2 constants in this lineup for a while. They were both guards. Brock kicked out to tackle this year.
Second down. Here comes Summers on a blitz. Roberson, and he is swallowed up. Sacked back at the 25. Spriggs again. What a day for Melvin Spriggs, the redshirt sophomore.
I don't want to steal your line, but I believe you said we're watching him grow up in front of our eyes, and look at the job from middle linebacker right into Roberson.
Roberson, timing pattern, it's caught. Gaithing's another catch. Beating Kamara, who has an interception in this game. Third down.
That's a big completion there from Roberson, because it gives Buffalo an opportunity and Jack Howes an opportunity to make this a one-score game. Without that extra yardage on that last completion, I'm not sure they go for the field goal.
Howes, who connected from earlier today. This one airborne. It is up, and he sneaks it through the left upright. 35 yards for Howes. And Ryan, as you described, that makes it a one-possession game with a two-point conversion. Howes 2 for 2 today. Buffalo at 3-0 entering today. Keep in mind, midweek action around the corner. Championships determined in the month of November, and you look at what we are seeing today. Ohio victorious. Kent State shocks Bowling Green. Northern Illinois the early lead. Central Michigan on top. The big game, Miami and Western Michigan. Defenses prevailing early in Oxford.
And that was the expectation, at least for me. Western Michigan has perhaps the most experienced defense in the MAC. And if you know anything about Coach Chuck and the Miami Redhawks, is that they, Chuck Martin, they are going to be defensively sound year in and year out. That's an ice bath type game going on in Oxford. You know, there's going to be a line for the players to get in the ice bath because of how physical it's going to be when you get two defenses that play the way they do.
Western Michigan defense, their defensive line with McGraw and company, they are playing as well as anyone. More action coming up next weekend. We have a couple of Saturday games to keep an eye on. Buffalo at Bowling Green on ESPN Plus, 12 noon start Eastern. Then Central Michigan makes the trip to Waldo Stadium at Kalamazoo. 4 o'clock kick on ESPNU, and then we move into the midweek action coveted by fans across the country. A couple of games on Tuesday, followed up by Northern Illinois, Toledo, Kent State, Ball State on Wednesday.
You never know what you're going to get when the MAC starts playing midweek games.
From the 26-yard line, Finley will throw, and too much air as he tried to hit Mason.
He had him too. This is a well-designed play. I actually thought he had the post route to Israel Polk as well. But a rare miss by Ben Finley.
What a second half it has been for Finley. 16 of 31, 198 yards. Keep in mind the majority of the damage in the second half. 12 of 18, including the 2 touchdowns. Finley will throw, and he threads the needle downfield. First down catch, still on his feet. Marcel Williams not going down. Carries the pile up ahead to the 43. 32 yards to Williams.
Beautiful play action. Ben Finley looks extra deceptive with the football. Watch the footwork and the handiwork. Finds his receiver. And watch Bradley. Looks like he's hitting a heavy bag. Well, we had to get back to live, but he's just swinging the right hand into the football, trying to jar it loose.
Season high 7 catches today for Marcel Williams, who was a game time decision coming in. Entered today with 15 catches. Gant trying to get it outside, picks up 2, maybe 3. Poyser underneath the pile, in on the stop. Keep an eye on the clock as we go inside 5 minutes.
Coach Moorhead and Ben Finley are going to use all of the 40 seconds on the play clock down the stretch here. And those are anxious moments. When you're the opposing side, you're down.
It's a helpless feeling, isn't it?
Yeah. You're just watching the seconds tick away. but plenty of time, frankly, especially if they can get a stop here, force a punt. And I'm sure Roberson and the crew would love to have an opportunity to drive the field and tie this one up.
Gant, change of course, cuts back over the center, and Gant makes the most out of nothing. Finley got thrown down behind the play. We've seen him go downfield a couple of times trying to block.
And he did on this time because Gant cuts back, and I think he got a piece of Murdoch. But when Gant readjusted, Finley found himself as an edge blocker, and he actually did a pretty good job to allow Gant to get extra yardage.
With that type of personality, you are going to win a locker room over, especially the guys up front. When you see the quarterback doing this, taking on one of the best linebackers in the country.
Look at that again. Beautiful job by Finley.
Third down, 3rd and 4. On the zone read, Gant stood up. And a 4th and 3 for Akron, and this clock will continue to wind down.
It's a big time decision here as to what do you do, and it looks like Coach Moorhead's going to bring the punting unit out. However, yeah, 4th and 3. 3 is pretty far. He may take a timeout and talk this over and take it all the way down.
Akron used a couple of timeouts earlier in the game. One in that 3rd quarter in the 2nd half. Keep in mind he used a timeout on the 4th down that went for big yardage to Kravac, so it was well worth it, but they only have 1 timeout left.
But they could take a delay a game here.
Absolutely. They're going to give their punter a little bit more room to work.
Delay a game. Offense, number 95. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
And you saw Castle look over at the sideline saying, give me the extra yards to work.
And I'd be surprised if Buffalo, if I were Buffalo, I would decline that penalty.
Absolutely. And they will decline the penalty, so they send out the punt return unit. Keep in mind, Buffalo, one of the best in the country at coming after punts. They have blocked 4 this year. It is a Pete Limbo specialty. 4th and 8. Here they come. Kick is off. End over end. Bounces inside the 5. And did Akron get to it? I think they did.
What an effort.
The ruling on the field is a touchback.
Oh, now they're going to change it.
The ball will be placed at the 20-yard line.
Initially looked like they were going to say, you avoided the goal line. Keep an eye here. This is close for DeWalt. Oh, that's as close as it gets.
I think you challenge this. Take a look. It's whether or not that right foot hit the ground before the football leaves the hand of DeWalt.
Regardless, what an effort play by DeWalt. Oh, so close to pinning Buffalo deep.
Still gained 20 yards. Now it's 80 yards to go and a 2-point conversion to tie the game up for the Bulls.
This is where Buffalo has thrived this year. Crossing pattern. McMillan continues to add to his career day. 7 catches, 167 yards for the redshirt junior from right here in Buffalo. Second down and 3 as we approach the 2-minute timeout. Roberson, McMillan, the connection continues to click. This will move the sticks. Don't know if Buffalo can get another snap away. They're lined up. 2 seconds, 1 second, and we will hit the 2-minute timeout.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
We hit the part of the game where Buffalo has made their hay throughout the course of the MAC season. Thrilling come-from-behind victories. A father and son moment with the Limbos discussing how they want to attack the final 2. The Cardiac Kids, better known as the Buffalo Bulls, their last 5 games have came down to the final possession. They've been perfect in the MAC. Wins against Kent State, Eastern Michigan, and UMass. And guess what? Here we go again. Alongside Brian Cavanaugh, Sean Kenny. First down, Roberson hit, little flutterer, nearly picked off. Dangerous as he was hit just as he released it. Roderick Hunter in the vicinity, and Pete Limbo, 5 one-score victories as far as one-score games this year. He's won 3 of those 5.
Of the 3 come from behind last-minute touchdowns. Victor Snow caught 2 touchdowns, and he also ran one in. Will his first catch of the second half, as he's been held without a reception, will that be another come from behind last-minute touchdown?
They bring a blitz off the edge, picked up beautifully by Al-Jay Henderson. Roberson picked off, intercepted. DeWalt with the interception for Akron. The Zips in their 4th takeaway of the day.
Roberson in trail coverage coming across, steps right in front as DeWalt rather in trail coverage, steps right in front of Roberson's pass. Roberson's trying to hit the in-breaking route of McMillan, his go-to guy, and DeWalt in perfect position. Beautiful job by Malcolm DeWalt. And as we saw last week with UMass, this game certainly is not over by any means, considering Buffalo still has 3 timeouts. But we just saw Tim Tibesar, defensive coordinator for this Akron team. These guys are waving. UMass did that last week, and they regretted it.
The rubber being burnt, the turnover tire, the 4th takeaway for Akron. 3rd interception thrown by Roberson. Gant picks up 2. Buffalo to use the first of 3 timeouts.
Buffalo, their first of the half, 30 seconds.
So Akron's Malcolm DeWalt. Huge interception late in this game. DeWalt, when you talk to Joe Moorhead, he said he has matured so much the past couple of years. He has really made some of the most strides on the team, especially on the defensive side of the football, and he has paid his dues. Started his career at a couple of different stops along the junior college route. Year 2, Akron looking to pull off a huge win. We started this broadcast. We aren't to the month of November, and it's still very early. And yes, Akron, where they are sitting, still with hopes of maybe working their way up and getting into the fray by the time late November rolls around. Finley and company getting the job done here on the road. 2nd down and 9. They hand it off. Gant trying to scoot to the outside. Cannot get free. Malin White was there.
Malin White has stepped up his game in the second half.
Timeout.
It's several.
Buffalo, their second and a half, 30 seconds.
Been a game of turnovers today. 4 of them for this Akron defense. The first one coming from Kamar in the second half. The interception, then Summers into the passing lane. And just a few moments ago, DeWalt anticipating 2nd pick of the season.
Roberson came into this afternoon's game, it feels like tonight now, but came into the game with only 3 interceptions on the season. He matched that in the second half alone.
So here's a question, Ryan, after what we saw from UMass last week in the end-of-game situation. There's no way on earth they put the ball in the air here, do they?
I do not think so. You have to make Buffalo burn their last timeout.
And they will keep it, and Buffalo will burn their final timeout. Gonzer and White, 2 in on the stop on Gant.
Buffalo, their 3rd and final timeout of the half.
DeWalt and the Zip
seconds.
defense is going to be called upon one more time to try to send Akron home with a victory.
And that to the left of DeWalt there is Todd Littlejohn, the defensive backs coach, who's come in and done a terrific job for Coach Tibbs. This has been a true team effort from the defensive backfield through the linebackers and the defensive front for Akron. Can Akron protect their punter, which they've been able to do successfully all afternoon, and put the game in the hands of Tibesar's defense one more time?
Joseph Castle on the punt. It's a good snap, and he gets the kick away. An over-in kick, textbook execution from Castle. And Buffalo 92 yards away from where they need to be. 5 straight games coming down to the end. It all started in the MAC with Kent State. Late touchdown pass to Snow sent Buffalo to victory. They had a couple of near misses. Troy giving up a late touchdown. UConn a near walk-off win off the field goal. But then you had Howe's hit from 50 yards, a career long to send the game to overtime with Eastern Michigan. Snow scores on a jet sweep. And then last week, the improbable Snow, another touchdown catch. Castle has done his part, even though he had the one snap that resulted in the safety. He has had quite a day punting. Roberson to go to work, settles in underneath, making the catch, falling ahead. This is Victor Snow, did not pick up the first down, so the clock will continue. Buffalo cannot stop it. They have used all 3 of their timeouts.
If you're Akron, you're okay with that completion against your defense.
They drop 8. Roberson will turn up field, and he will pick up the first down. Now the clock will stop with 1:04.
Good pass rush by Cyrus Durham. Working on the left tackle, pushes him back into Roberson. And Roberson has to break the pocket and run.
First down, Akron's going to get to Roberson. Spriggs with his 2nd sack of the day. Summers was in there along with Durham. The trio of Zips converging and meeting number 2. Loss of 7 on the play, 2nd and long. Clock continues to move. Pressure up the middle, Roberson hit. Summers the interception, and that is going to be it. No magic late today for Buffalo. Summers with his 2nd interception, and Roberson is down.
Timeout for an injured player.
It's Julian LaVenture, the defensive tackle, who's able to put the hit on Roberson, get home, and Roberson, out of desperation, trying to release the football. It flutters in the air, and Gage Summers says, I don't need no tire. We just came into Buffalo. Look at LaVenture right in the middle of the defense. Swimming, relentless. And Gage Summers catches the interception to seal this game.
Julian LaVenture did not arrive at Akron until the summer. Mid-June, he was voted captain by his teammates after a month of being on campus because he plays with such a relentless passion. Effort guy, high effort each and every play.
I'm sorry, I was going to say, in addition to the accolades he's earned off the field, strength and conditioning coach Uri Southfeld picks one player on the offense and one player on the defense to wear the number 1 jersey. And that's based on putting in the right work, being a leader, doing everything that Akron Zips football means. And for him to not only do that, but as you pointed out, Sean, be a captain on this team after only being around for 2 months prior to camp speaks volumes about who that young man is, both as a leader and by example.
Spent 3 years at Division II, Penn West, California, the Vulcan program in Pennsylvania. Immediate impact. Roberson helped off the field, so now that becomes a question moving forward for Buffalo. He was already fighting a lower body injury, and this has to feel really good for Coach Joe Moorhead and Akron. He was livid after the Miami game a few weeks ago. He thought that one slid through their fingers. They had a real chance to knock off the Red Hawks. Same situation last week. Mother Nature moved in, really stymied some of the momentum they had late against Ball State. But today, Summers in this defense, Tim Tibesar, the job this defensive unit did without 3 of their starters impressive and definitely the storyline.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, we came in again, 31% of their tackling production from their 11 starters last week was gone, and you had Summers, and I'm giving a game ball to Melvin Spriggs, a linebacker who stepped up in place of Shaman Cooper and had probably his best game as a collegiate football player. And he made big plays at the biggest times too. Sacks, and in the fourth quarter when Buffalo was looking like they're going to do what they've done so many times as the cardiac kids of the MAC this year, Spriggs and Gage Summers were there to shut it down.
Just another day in the office in the MAC.
That's right.
24-16, Akron wins it. And let's not forget, we saw a little bit of history today as well. Red Murdoch, congratulations to the Buffalo linebacker as he ties former Buffalo linebacker Khalil Mack for the most forced fumbles in NCAA history. He forced his 16th fumble of his outstanding career. Buffalo tastes defeat for the first time in action this year. Akron showed up ready to go. 5 turnovers forced by the Zip D. Summers, the game-sealing interception. And Akron with a huge road win today. For Ryan Kavanaugh, our entire crew from Buffalo, this is Sean Kenny saying good night from Buffalo. Your final, Akron 24, Buffalo 16. This has been a presentation of ESPN.